So welcome to the class on pericyclic reactions. Today we will start sigmatropic reactions. Yeah, please mute yourself. Sigmatropic reactions. You know, Woodward-Hoffmann rules are same. Woodward-Hoffmann rules are same as electrocyclic reactions. That means for a 4-pi system, we will have conrotation. For a 6-pi system, we will have a disrotation. All right. First, we will see 3,3 sigmatropic rearrangement. When you want to represent this, we must keep the square brackets. Okay, 3,3 sigmatropic rearrangements. Out of the 3,3 sigmatropic rearrangement, first one is the Cope rearrangement. What is Cope rearrangement? Cope rearrangement is the rearrangement of 1,5 dienes, 1,5 diene. So it is 1,5 hexadiene. When it is heated under thermal condition, when it is heated, this 1,5 hexadiene will undergo bond breaking and bond forming simultaneously, so that it rearranges like this. It will undergo bond formation across the bonds, across the ends of the double bonds, and it will try to break the bond here. Now, to simply identify where the bond formation occurs, where the bond breaking will occur, what we need to do is we need to number it. We will start the numbering from one end of the double bond. We will write like 1, 2, 3. So we will start the numbering from one end of the double bond. We will write 1, 2, 3. And from the other end also, we will do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. You know, you can number the in a reverse fashion. That means 1, 2, 3. So it's not a problem. Right. When we heat 1,5 hexadienes, there will be a bond formation across the ends. That means there will be a bond formation between the carbons which are numbered 1 and 1, and there will be a bond breaking between the carbons which are numbered 3 and 3. So when we heat it, a sigma bond will form here, and this sigma bond will break. Obviously, these two pi bonds will undergo rearrangement. How they will undergo rearrangement, I'll write the electron polarization. So we will polarize this double bond to form a sigma bond. Then this double bond is polarized towards this. Then this bond breaking, so it will be polarized like this. So if there is a bond formation between 1,1 carbon sigma bond, then there is a pi bond formation between 2,3 carbons. So when you want to write the product in a sigmatropic rearrangement, you just don't try to write the final version of the product. That means final configuration of the product. You always try to just write the skeleton whatever it was given in the problem. We will arrange it like this. Then we will try to write the skeleton. We just don't write what is forming, what is breaking. We don't write. Okay, the bond breaking, 3,3 bond is breaking, so we are not representing this. 1,1 bond is breaking. We are also not representing these two things. Right. First, what we will do when we are trying to write the product, we will write the skeleton. Then we will give the same numbering, we don't change it. Remember, we don't change the numbering. We will try to give the same numbering. Then now, yeah, form the sigma bond between 1 comma 1 carbons, then form the pi bonds between 2 comma 3 carbons. So always remember this process. Then yes, you need to convert this into a good representation, because it is again a 1 comma 5 hexadiene. How we will represent this? We will represent like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6. So like this, right? So that means when you are trying to write the product, you don't try to write the final product, final version or final configuration of the product. First, try to take the same carbon skeleton, break the bond 3 3 bond, make the 1 1 bond, then also generate 2 comma 3 pi bonds. Then you can convert into a suitable form. Right. When we want to know the configuration of this transformation, this always involved in the reaction with a chair transition state. It involves with a chair transition state. Then see, this is a 6-membered system, so it is the 6-membered systems always involve in chair transformations. Then there will be a bond formation like this, and there will be a bond breaking like this. When we assume chair transition state for this COP rearrangement, we can also predict the stereochemistry of the substituents. If we have any substituents here, we can also predict its stereochemistry. For example, we will look at this. When you have this both E double bonds, then what is the stereochemistry of these two methyl groups when it undergoes a COP rearrangement? Right. I'll try to write the chair conformation and I'll try to appreciate the subject. Always write this chair conformation, because it is a E double bond. This methyl group must be like this. Again, it is an E double bond, so this methyl group also must be like this. So there will be a bond formation like this, and there will be a bond breaking like this. And when we write the product, see, this methyl group is below the plane, this methyl group is above the plane, right? So in a chair conformation, this is at equatorial position, this is again a equatorial position. So this equatorial is alpha phase, this equatorial is beta phase. So when we write the product, what we will do, we don't change the skeleton first. We will, yeah, first I'll give the numbering 1 2 3 1 2 3. So we are generating a 1 comma 1 sigma bond, and we are breaking this 3 comma 3 bond, and we are generating 2 comma 3 bond. Then when we want to write the stereochemistry of these two methyl groups, yes, this methyl group is below the plane, this methyl group is above the plane. So when we assume this chair transition state, we can also easily predict the stereochemistry of the products. I'll give one more example to appreciate the subject further. If we have one Z double bond here, okay, it is E double bond, this is Z double bond, then what is the stereochemical outcome of this 3 comma 3 sigma tropic rearrangement? or you can say co-prearrangement. Right. We will try to write the chair transition state, and then we will try to predict the stereochemistry. First, we will write this. First, we need to number it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right. Then again number it here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this double bond is E double bond. So it must be written like this. And this double bond is Z double bond. So it must be written like this. Then you see it is an E double bond. It is a Z double bond. Right? That means this methyl group is below the plane. Again, this methyl group is below the plane in a chair conformation. So when we write the product, again, when we write the product, I said don't change the carbon skeleton. Don't change the carbon skeleton. We will write the carbon skeleton. We will number it. Then we will try to form 1,1 bond, sigma bond, 2, 3 pi bonds. Then we will try to fix the stereochemistries of substituents. This methyl group is below the plane. Again, this methyl group is below the plane. So we will write like this. Okay. Yeah, please take the notes. We will practice some problems on co-prearrangement. You just try to give the products. I'll also explain, but you try to give the products. Sigmatropic reactions are the only drawback is that we need to have high temperatures sometimes. Sometimes they'll work at room temperature sometimes, but mostly we need to have high temperatures. That is the only drawback. And it is also possible to increase the rate of the reaction by using a catalyst. So catalyst activation is also possible in 3,3 sigmatropic reactions. You just try these problems. I'll also give the answers. Right. When you want to write the products, first give the numbering. Start with this side or this side, whatever you want, you can do it. Then form a sigma bond between the 1,1 carbons, break a sigma bond between the 3,3 carbons. As I said, when you want to write the product, first don't change the carbon skeleton. Okay, first don't change the carbon skeleton. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we need to generate 1,1 sigma bond. We will break this 3, 3 sigma bond. We also generate 2, 3 pi bonds. Now what is the stereochemistry around these two? So from the transition state, we can clearly say that it is above the plane and it is below the plane. So if you write the chair transformation, we can easily predict its stereochemistry. Right. If the product looks good in this form, it is okay. If it is not good, then you rearrange it. Okay. Right. Here also you do the same thing. just generate 1 sigma bond, break this 3, 3 sigma bond. Here also just give numbering, generate 1, 1 sigma bond, break the 3, 3 sigma bond. Similarly here also 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So just break 3, 3 sigma bond, form 1, 1 sigma bond, and then 5 bonds. Right. Okay, the stereochemistry will be reversed, right? Okay. Yeah, it should be below the plane. This must be above the plane. Yeah, thanks for correcting me. When we write the transition state, we can predict these things, right? Good, thank you. Next, in the next example, we see that a very good example for room temperature 3, 3 sigmatropic reactions exhibited by this molecule. It is called bulvalin. It is called bulvalin. Bulvalin is a very good example when we want to discuss 3, 3 sigmatropic reaction. Now, how do we say that this molecule exhibits 3, 3 sigmatropic rearrangements at room temperature? When we took the NMR at room temperature proton NMR, see, all are equivalent carbons, all the double bonds having only one hydrogen, and all the sp3 hybridized carbons are tertiary carbons, they are also having one hydrogen. So all the alkene protons will give one peak, all the sp3 hybridized carbon protons will give another peak. But you see, this tertiary carbon is different from these 3 tertiary carbons because these 3 are involved in a 3-member ring, whereas it is not, it is involved in a 6-member ring, 7-member ring. So that means it must be chemically different from these protons, right? When we look at the structure, yes, this proton must be chemically different from these 3 protons. So we expect 2 different signals for this hydrogen and for these 3 hydrogens. So that means altogether we will expect alkene proton, 3 protons, 3 signals. But at room temperature NMR, we do observe only one signal. Why we are observing only one signal? It is because this bulvalin is undergoing 3, 3 sigmatropic rearrangement at room temperature. It is undergoing COP rearrangement at room temperature. Now, if you want to see the COP rearrangement, yes, there are 2 possibilities. See, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, we can use these two 1,5 dienes, or we can also use these 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yes, 1, 2, 3. So we can use any of these two, and we can write the product. Yeah, as I said, when you are writing the product, don't change the skeleton. We are not going to change the carbon skeleton. Yeah, this is the carbon skeleton, and this I did not. I'll write the numbering. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that means I need to have this bond also. Right. Now we will generate 1, 1 sigma bond. We will generate 2, 3 pi bonds. Now you look at this molecule. This is similar to this. Both are identical. So that means at room temperature, there is a rapid conversion from this form to this form. Now you see this carbon, it is part of 3-membered ring, and this carbon, it is part of 7-membered ring. That means initially it is not part of 3-membered ring, but after rearrangement it is part of 3-membered ring. That means this carbon is converted to this, these carbons are converted to this. That means they are interchanging. So that is why at room temperature we don't observe two different signals for this proton and these protons. So that is why at room temperature, due to the rapid Cope rearrangement, Bulbalin gives only two peaks in proton NMR. One peak for the alkene proton, one peak for the sp3 hybridization. But when we do it at a very low temperature, say minus 80 degrees centigrade or minus 100 degrees centigrade, then it is possible for us to observe three peaks. Three peaks. Of course, one peak for the alkene protons. All 6 alkene protons are identical. And the protons in triangle, 3-membered ring will give one signal. The proton in the carbon in a 7-membered ring will give another signal. So this will give three peaks. So at room temperature, we do observe only two peaks, but at very low temperatures, we observe three peaks. So semi-Bulbalin is a very good example to explain the 3,3 sigmatropic rearrangements at room temperature. Please take this. I will also give some more examples for this. We have semi-Bulbalin, which is of the same molecular structure, but